Good morning, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of Market Check, brought to you by none other than Because Bitcoin. A reminder that there is no second best daily YouTube live stream to talk about these markets. Happy Tuesday, guys. Good start to the week, right? I'm Snorlax. You guys also know me as Tommy. I'm joined, of course, by Max, Tucker, Jackus, and Dr. Will's Outlook. You guys kicked butt yesterday. I just wanted to start the show off by saying that, not the panel, but the audience. We hit over 250 likes live on stream yesterday. So you guys already know what I'm going to ask you here as we start this next one. Real quickly, before we get cooking, before we get sharing that big, juicy alpha, you know we always appreciate when you guys smash that like button. It would be an awesome day. I mean, Bitcoin's still at all-time highs. It would be very, very cool if you guys could once again push us towards that 250 like total, maybe even break the Because Bitcoin YouTube live all-time high for likes. You guys could be a part of that achievement, but I mean, I definitely don't want to come off as a broken record, but it really does mean a lot to us when you guys smash the like button on the video. And obviously, our engagement on YouTube has been going parabolic, in no small part to you guys. So I just wanted to say that before we got started. But now let's talk about markets, right? Bitcoin, you know, I guess we're more or less chopping in this small lower time frame range right above all-time high on Bitcoin. There's really not too much, I don't think, to remark about crypto this morning. I'm actually more interested in kind of what happened with equities this morning. We had a CPI print, which, you know, I'm not going to be the only one on this show. I'm sure it's a joke about how the CPI prints don't matter. But as we're seeing with equities, they have almost completely U-turned the dip early in the week. We've had a similar footprint, I want to say the last 3 or 4 weeks, where you have macro data that immediately U-turns almost, you know, I mean, it looks like we're probably going to go for a new high on SPOOs today. You have to imagine that will have positive ramifications for Bitcoin as well, which, although on a lower time frame, Bitcoin went up to the highs and rejected, you have to imagine if stocks are going to continue to trade higher, obviously it's going to bleed over into Bitcoin. Yeah, and I will say, you know, we are seeing some strength in select altcoin markets, of course, as well. We would like to see them continue. I want to talk about alts today because I think some of them are in some really interesting spots, and I want to look at some Bitcoin pairs in particular on things like Sol. You know, I know Tucker and I have kind of been going back and forth on what we think could happen with the Sol BTC pair. And I think it kind of sets the tone for a lot of these other altcoins as well, right? We talked a lot about how there is this inevitable shift down the risk curve coming. And I think that's true no matter what happens with major assets like Bitcoin or the S&P. I think in general, you're probably about to see that rotation into riskier assets across the board in equities and crypto. But today feels like kind of just another day, or at least within the trend, right? I mean, yes, Bitcoin is showing maybe a little bit of lower time frame weakness. I kind of still think we might retest those highs on this show, potentially even. But yeah, equities kind of par for the course. Altcoins, nothing really too much to write home about. But what are we seeing in the markets today, guys? As we do kind of embrace this inevitable shift down the risk curve.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Well, here's the deal, guys. We're going higher. All right. I titled today's show very intentionally. I put a lot of thought into it. I consulted with numerous people on this matter. I said, guys, I need to name this show precisely what I'm feeling inside. All right. And honestly, it's turn your brain off. We're going higher. All right. I guess, you know, we're pulling back a little bit, but to just kind of contextualize it and be realistic about what's right in front of us. I mean, Bitcoin's at 71K right now. ETH, well, I guess it was at 71K. Now what's happening? Why is it bouncing so much right now? Did something just happen? It is going crazy. What is there something going on? That's really, really weird.
Wait, what do you mean?
Like price is moving around like crazy right now. It's
nuking, Max. It's nuking.
No, it was like it is dropping like 200 points in like a second and then right back up I don't know. Who knows? Maybe it's just some apes being apes. But yeah, guys, I mean, look, I'm always stressing the importance of zooming out. And, it's not every single week that Bitcoin enters price discovery. All right. And as long as Bitcoin's above 69K, we have just entered price discovery. Yeah, we'd all love to see 75 to 80 to 90K or whatever. And I think that we're going to get it probably pretty soon. But again, this is how many times has Bitcoin gone into a bear market and then, reemerged above a previous all-time high? There's been what? This is the fourth example, fourth case of that happening. So again, I'm really doing my best as an individual investor, as a trader, as somebody that talks to you guys all day, every day on numerous, different platforms, on X, and Discord, on YouTube, to just advocate for the higher time frames right now, because the higher we go, the more noise there's going to be on the lower time frames. The higher we go, when we go to 80K, the liquidation wick back down to 72 is going to be, very quick, very intense, very dramatic. And I say this with Pepe a lot too, right? Like yeah, look at that. That's epic, man. Run both sides of the range. That's fantastic. Again, the higher we go, the more leverage people are going to use. The higher we go, the more retail is going to enter the space. The higher we go, the more retail is going to enter the space that's going to join and start aping on leverage because they're trying to play catch up because they were late to the rally or they think that they were. So again, these are all very bullish signs, like this local volatility, the chop, the scariness of it all. Super bullish. Like it actually, I'm overcome with a sense of nostalgia from last bull market when we had crazy intraday volatility like this, and I was kind of later to the cycle, or at least I felt like I was. I was still newer to crypto, between 2018 and 2019, and I was really pushing it, learning how to use leverage. Like I'd used it in equities before, but never crypto, right? So I love what I'm seeing, guys. I'm super bullish, higher time frame. I don't even want to talk about like the quote unquote high CPI print this morning, because like it was just thing. It was just the macro boys were like physically aroused this morning that there was something to talk about, even though it was literally nothing. So yeah, guys, I mean, we're gonna get into all the technicals today. Like I've got a lot of new charts that I want to show you guys. But things look fantastic. Like I'm just ready for blast off, and I think it comes sooner rather than later. And Tucker texted a group chat last night. I think it was actually just me and Tommy. And he said, wait, last time Bitcoin went above the previous all-time high, we went up 100% in 40 days. Are we literally about to go to 100K? Something like that, Tucker. I don't mean to put words in your mouth, but that was kind of the essence of what you were talking about. So yeah, guys, I mean, I think that the best is yet to come. I think we're going to see a lot of big rotations into like mid cap altcoins. I think you're going to get your next leg up on meme coins here probably at the end of this month, if not very early April. But yeah, guys, I mean, it's exciting times. We had Drake posting on Instagram, I guess, something about Michael Saylor. So things look good, guys.
Here it is, Max. Here it is. Here it is. The time it took Bitcoin to double after previous all-time high breaks. 18 days, 84, 10, 18. So 2017 was a bit longer, but that's historically what happened. So that's what I tell you. I was like, are we about to go to 6 digits before the halving? Like,
so if history is any indication, and we follow historical trends. Well, for one, I will say this too, Tucker. This has been the cycle of front running and reaching levels faster than expected, at least so far. It doesn't mean it has to continue, but at least that's been the trend so far. So at longest, maybe 3 months, shortest 10 days. I don't know. It's possible, right? Like when Bitcoin gets moving, it gets moving. But yeah, I mean, look, things look good. Things look really good.
To be honest, I kind of hope that BTC really goes in the range, because if it's going to double straight from here after the run it had from 40Ks, it's going to get very overheated. And we've seen that in 2020. I would much, and obviously the market doesn't care about what I would love, or of course, but it would be way healthier for all of us if BTC goes into a reaccumulation. It doesn't have to be exactly here, but like let's say 70 to 80K, something like that, goes sideways for months or something before finding the next leg higher. It would also give the alts the breathing room to absolutely chat. So for the sake of BTC and alts and the market, I wouldn't want to see it double, but the data is obviously there. So let's see.
Jackus, in that scenario, what do you think would happen to altcoins if Bitcoin just kind of held above 69K? Let's just say range between 68 and 75 for the next 3 months. What do you think would happen?
How to say it? Captain, we are leaving the Earth. The moon is next.
Houston, we have liftoff.
Yeah.
I have some pretty crazy propaganda I can pull up here in a minute, Max, if you want, for Bitcoin.
Ooh, it sounds like the doctor has a prescription for us, Will. Fun.
Mm-hmm.
I love when the doctor has a prescription.
Will was missing the past day, so he has lots to talk about, lots to cook, I'm sure.
I'm sure he does.
Maybe there is some alpha in the exchange of the like button. Well, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, are we at 100 or what are we at right now?
Yes, listen, well, yesterday, and there was lots of alpha from all of us, and we do appreciate the support, guys, because this is why we do it. This way, we do not do any, pay deals to dampen you or anything, right? We do this
And
free.
trust me, we get offered a lot of shilly shit,
yeah.
and we literally turn all of it down. Stuffed
Yes.
at the rim.
Yes. You guys have no idea how generous we are, right? And so that's why it makes us angry whenever we see someone complain about the like button. Like, we are like, you guys have no idea what you like, what we are doing for you, right? So, but yesterday, Will, we hit 300 likes, which was the new record, and we do appreciate it, support, guys.
Oh wow.
So up to you, Will. Up to you where you raise the bar.
Tucker, what are you doing here, man? Walk us through what is this like green?
I pulled some fibs in addition. The green thing is just the it's between 10 days and 84 days, right? The kind of date range where it doubles. Then I just put 100K up there, but the 1618's right there too, man. I wouldn't be shocked. I mean, if we did this, it would be full parabola, right? Like this, that's June 1st, basically, right? So I mean, that would be.
Can you bring in my other account?
You don't have much room to go sideways. Like, you really got to go kind of straight up. But if you were to do that, again, this line is going to play, I have no doubt. But it would be like that, and then maybe one of the.
Can you put it in log mode, Tucker? I know you're against log, but when you go into parabola, brother, you have to put it on log.
Tucker's way off, by the way, just for the audience knows.
Oh,
Tucker's
yeah,
off?
well.
What do you mean, Will? Tucker's always on, brother. I've never seen Tucker off.
He's way off, man.
Look at his pupils, man. He's dilated. He's literally in kill mode right now.
Yeah,
he's basically a bear right now. That's what he is.
100K is bearish, Will.
Basically a
Tucker,
bear.
that's bearish, bro.
Yeah, too bearish for Will. It looks a little easier to hit in log mode, that's for sure. But yeah,
so, Tucker, if you want to go to the bull chart here, we can start talking about bull run versus bear run.
Parabola.
Right. Did you just Tommy the chart?
What am I looking at?
Come on, man.
Will, so, you gotta clean that up or something. That's
there's nothing to clean up here. We'll give context.
Okay,
right?
That helps a little bit. It was just a lot of lines.
Here's fib high to low, right? And this is on the weekly, the best time frame there is. It's actually what signaled the bottom. All right, you can see right here.
Dude, look
high
how we
to
topped
low.
last cycle at the fucking 1.618 perfectly, man. Wow.
Mhm.
Right on
Look
it.
at that. Look at
Right?
that thing. What a
It's
coincidence. You can't,
astrology for men.
TA
Astrology
isn't
for
real, bro. TA, that's fake.
And not only that, we almost broke into the red zone for institutions, broke just below the 1, and then came back above it, and nobody believed this rally was going to be real after you found support above it. But let's go and let's again breaking above your all-time high. Let's do the now. Actually, we'll go back to this real quick because I want to show some context here. So for the context here, I think a lot of people haven't considered this. If we look at this and we're like, all right, what do we have going on here? Once Bitcoin broke out, it didn't retrace. I'm not talking about like, hey, came down and then broke up and then came down and broke up. We're not talking about wicks. It didn't retrace, which a technical retrace is this right here until almost 110% above all-time high. So it went straight parabola until 110% above all-time high.
And Will,
Right.
how many days did that take?
And that took 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks before you
So
topped.
about a month, give or take.
About a month. And then after that, right there, you dipped. Okay. You dipped right here about 30%. We'll just say 30%.
And that was the first major pullback after slicing through the previous all-time high. Not little, whatever, but like real week plus correction. And by the way, guys, that's the dip historically to shove. When you break through the previous all-time high, slice through it like a hot knife through butter, and then start to basically pull back wherever it comes from, that's the dip historically to shove. If you still have cash that's, on the sidelines, that's when you shove altcoins. That's when you shove altcoins. And speaking of altcoins, shout out altcoinist.com. I love those guys. I see they're on X watching right now. What's up, altcoinist? But sorry, we'll go back. We'll go back to you, man.
You're good. So again, this is 110% above all-time high. This is not freaking we're gonna pull back next week at like 2% above all-time high or any of that stuff. So let's just theoretically say we stick to that thesis. We pull back 30%. If you were a holder and didn't sell the dip, maybe added to it, but let's say you never sold and you endured the pain, you still got an additional 54% upside, right? Even with enduring the pain. Let's say you were an expert trader, right? And you bought the exact bottom after selling the exact top, which nobody can do theoretically, right? Especially not hitting both. Maybe you can hit one once in your life. You got 117% of upside from the pullback. So technically, if you were like kind of adding to your position as the pullback occurred, you could theoretically make that happen, right? But the whole point being here is like you missed the best part of the market, because right here is where your altcoins explode, and they exploded right over here, then exploded the second time over here. This is not guaranteed, but this right here is likely, right? It's likely that this plays out this way. Not saying it has to play out to a T, because history never repeats, but it rhymes. And because we ended up in this kind of new market top, right? This rounding top market right here. It's a more distributive market. And then you caught that distribution over here, and that turned into basically accumulation. And now it's in its new run up, new parabola. Now let's get rid of this fib right here, right? And granted, I showed where I took my tops and my bottoms just for context for people. I showed basically where that breakout occurred above all-time high. And I'm going to do the same thing here. So I'm going to just basically take a fib. And whether you believe it should be here or here, that's just nuance at the end of the day. You can take it to the other one if you want. You'll get a little less number. It's not going to be much of a difference. But let's go again, high to low, right? Same area. And let's look at this from a Fibonacci standpoint. And we can see right there, we're tapping pretty nicely. We can see right here, we're tapping pretty nicely. Look, I'll even give bears a little bit of breathing room, right? I'll scoot it up.
Don't do that, Will. Step on their necks, man. Don't do that.
I'll give them a little breathing room here.
No, not allowed. No, not on this show.
Now look,
Apply pressure.
I even went modest on the upside, right? So the other one was 110%. I took it down 40% from that. And I said, you know what? I'll give them something to kind of, something to kind of bite their nails on. So 70% here. So if we hit the 1618 again, that's roughly around $172,000, right? And then not only to mention is that around 172, that means that your move right here for Bitcoin at a 70% high means we don't retrace to almost $117,000. And that's me cutting 40% off, right? If we went up to the same amount or roughly in the same general area, I would honestly say we probably end up much higher, probably closer to 90, right? But I want to give people the benefit of the doubt, and I want to be very conservative so people aren't like, oh, you're being too bullish.
Hey, Doc, I got a question for you, man, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
So I see your fractal. I agree with sort of the escape velocity and the trajectory of this trend that you're forecasting here.
Mhm.
My question to you is, do you anticipate another true double top like last cycle? Because I see you've included that second top in the fractal. Or do you expect the 1.618 to get hit, complex pullback, retest whatever level, and then we actually go up higher than the previous top, like significantly? Or are you thinking they're going to run back the 2021 playbook all over again?
Well, I don't know if they'll run back. And again, history, I always go back to rhymes, but never repeats, right? We could ultimately even do something kind of weird and just basically not even have this occur and have something more circular into a range, into a breakout, right? That could happen too. And I think just not enough people want to entertain that. But my thoughts on the market pullback up here is a lot different than most, because whereas we got more of like a 70% pullback here, again, high to low, I'm thinking up here we'll probably get something closer to, especially with institutions being involved, closer to maybe a 50% pullback. And so that's a substantial, like major difference between this market and previous ones. And so again, it builds more confidence in the market. And I think like with bigger players, that could easily be achieved. Getting down to this 50%, it's going to be kind of like playing here, right? And I think like just not enough people entertain like, how long did we stay here? Not very long, right? So if you weren't bidding, then you were basically just sitting here on your hands waiting for lower. That never came. And I think like once you saw this kind of break, consolidate, break, consolidate, you should have been bidding the consolidate, break, consolidate. But nobody wanted to, right? Everybody here was like, oh, it's going to go lower. It doesn't matter. Look, this is, at the end of the day, this is elevator down. This is stairs down. You always buy stairs, in my opinion. You don't buy elevators, but you buy stairs, and stairs were obvious. And when we were here, I just want to be clear, I did buy Bitcoin, but I went way heavier on alts. I mean,
Well, you were in the dumpster, man.
I was like 0.002. Go look at the chart.
Will got out a sleeping bag, moved out of his nice home, literally found the greasiest dumpster behind a local Panda Express and just crawled in there and got cozy in his sleeping bag and said, this is my home for the next year.
The hard part is teaching people shitcoining, because 1 week in shitcoin language is basically 3 decades. So people feel like they've been holding for like years.
That's real, man.
Dude, that makes me think of Interstellar when they go to those planets and like the time is all different than on Earth. So it's like 1 minute on that planet is like a decade on Earth. That's shitcoinery, man. Someone needs to make a meme about that. If somebody here is watching and they know what I'm talking about and they're somewhat gifted in memeology and I guess design, you got to make that meme. You got to make that meme of like when they're on those planets and the time gets all warped. That's shitcoinery, all right?
Well, it's like you have these soul shit coins. If you've been in the trenches, they literally will go through like 5 market cycles in 2 hours. So It's just like a completely different world.
They just bought the shitcoin and they're already like, well, that one's moving and mine's not. It's like you just hit the purchase button. What are you talking about?
Yeah, that's
You've been
real.
here 10 seconds.
Will, show me your favorite altcoin, man. Let's see. We covered Bitcoin. We know your bias. Show me your favorite altcoin right now. Your favorite, not like it's kind of my favorite. Show me your favorite altcoin. That's over 100 mil market cap, though. All right.
Why? Why
I
over?
know. We got too many people watching, man.
on Max.
I don't want to be called a pump and dumper, man. Even though we play micro caps, we're just getting to be that size where we got to be a little bit careful, man.
I came into the Discord today, man. I was like, look, show me an L. And I was like 6,000% gain.
You can do it in the Discord, bro. We just can't do that. We just can't.
I was just showing, like, look, I'll tell you this. Look, my favorite as of right now, or at least the one I'm most interested in, is probably Sui, but it's also been ARB, and I'll give context to ARB. Let me pull this up real quick.
And that plan we laid out for Sui a few weeks ago, maybe even a few months ago at this point, is literally playing out perfectly.
So I talk to people about this all the time. I don't feel like people get it, but when you look at ecosystems as far as TVL goes, again, TVL to me is just more of like staying power. That's the way I like to look at it. It doesn't have to be like, oh, the TVL, bro. It's more like, are people interested in being in the ecosystem? And I try to keep it as simple as possible. But our being number 4 here, being a layer 2, is very interesting, especially coming in after something like Polygon, right? And so since it's here and Polygon's all the way over here, it really makes me wonder, is Polygon going to make it, or is Polygon not going to make it, right? I don't think it won't make it, but I think ultimately, like, ARB is just basically ate Polygon's lunch, right? And it's coming in, it's really pushing the space. So it's an area I'm really paying attention to, specifically is Arbitrum. Solana for me is more like a velocity coin. So like when volume is present, Solana is going to do exponentials.
And by the way, Will, that's where we're at right now, man. And
yeah,
I'm assuming you would agree.
Yeah, 100%. And taking that into account, I think Solana could have a lot more upside than what people are anticipating. When volume goes away, though, that's where it will suffer. Arbitrum has what I like to call staying power, because you're seeing a lot of like staking protocols and different things that are basically trapping liquidity on Arbitrum, which is something you want to see. This is basically what happened with Ethereum when Ethereum started taking over. Is you saw a lot of staking protocols, a lot of places to manage money, and so on and so forth, and it created the ecosystem we see today in Ethereum. And I think Arbitrum is well on its way to be that secondary class scenario to Ethereum. It's really weird, or at least that second layer of staking for Ethereum in a lot of ways. Now you do have BSC and Tron in here, and I don't discount these two either, because BSC obviously was like, if you wanted cheap fees, this was where you went last cycle. Like, it's like, I know Polygon existed and stuff like that, but everybody was playing on BSC, especially the shitcoins.
Well, what was interesting, Will, about BSC was it was kind of like, and it's funny to bring up memes again in this sense, but I think we were talking about yesterday how, the Doge pump in, I think it was Q3, Q4 of 2020, kind of preceded the speculative frenzy that we had in the spring of 2021. BSC was really the first non-ETH layer 1 to pop off. And although, activity ended up being much larger on other chains, BSC was, the equivalent of that like Doge moment for layer 1s. And you saw it like really set the stage for, things like AVAX and Solana to be able to have their run, in 2021.
Actually, I'm not even sharing the screen, so now I feel dumb. Let me reshare it. I've been sharing my chart. Let me share the screen. All right, so this is the screen. Can you bring that up, Tucker? This is what I was trying to share with you guys. My bad. My apologies, everyone. But yeah, so this is what I mean by like Ethereum And then obviously ARB here being number 4 here is really interesting that it's number 4 when it's this new of an ecosystem. And I look at it more like so I'm really kind of looking into the ecosystem of ARB and trying to see what I like in there. I'm actually, for the first time ever, I wanna tell you guys, yes, I'm a gazillion years old age, but
Will, they try to scare us with Arbitrum unlocks.
bro, like you're so wrong on that. But like not you, but them. Yeah. But I will say this, look, Arbitrum is a very very unique scenario here. Being in the position that it's in the current market and nobody talking about it. And so I've actually started entertaining and playing on the Arbitrum network. And I'm doing this on a couple different ones, doing on Sui, Arb, and a couple other ones, but I started staking. It is something I completely avoided last cycle. But I avoided because I didn't really start looking at it until like the top of the market. And I know that's not the place to start looking at staking. But I think going into the market, if you can catch like gains on like monthlies or 6-month lock-ins, like the ecosystems that have the most lock probably have the best yield, right? Or at least the safest yield, one of the two. And so I'm actively looking through these and trying to see, okay, can I buy a coin where number go up and be able to gain yield at the same time? And I think I've achieved that on a couple different chains. It's been pretty fun. It's been pretty fun. It's not something I normally work in or as far as like try to do actively in the market. I'm normally just a trader, and I try to buy things at very low valuations and sell them at very high and or leverage. But like this is something I've actually came into a lot. But again, I think like Arbitrum being number 4 years interesting. Tron, I'm not even gonna try and BS. Like I don't know a lot about the network. Should I? Probably. It's number 2, right? It's somewheres I haven't really dabbled. I'm not gonna shit talk it because the position it's in.
How much
So
how much of that
just don't know.
TVL is just Justin's son though?
All of it. All
mean,
of it, Tommy.
Tommy, we don't talk about that. Okay.
All of it.
Some
Even
things
if it-
better left unsaid for the sake of our
Literally
industry.
all of it.
Yeah, but even if it is his, right? Like it's still a lot. Like it's almost like when people sit there and talk shit about freaking what is it? Dude from Binance. And I already forgot his name. He's only been gone like what, 6 months. But when people be like, oh yeah, Binance gonna go under, Binance gonna go under. It's like, it's not though. It's not gonna go under. And I doubt that Justin's son and the people that he's playing with is that he's gonna go under. He's not a Do Kwon like people think he is. Like I'm not defending him like I don't know him, but
You
like,
guys
Do
remember
Kwon is
the
more predatory.
story from Will, I
You're good.
you remember the story from spring of 2021 about Justin's son, right?
I've heard
Yeah.
a lot of stories.
The
I
one
think I
the
know
one
what
where-
you mean, Tommy. You
Yeah, I
mean the
think
one with the wife?
Yes.
Yeah.
Apparently the entire spring 2021 cascade was initiated by Chinese whales who wanted to liquidate Justin's son because he slept with one of their wives.
Oh my god.
Wow.
I heard
Only in
that.
crypto.
I didn't know if it was true or not, but I did hear that.
I love the
He like
stories
winked
like
at
this.
somebody when they asked him about it.
Probably did, man. I could see it. I don't know.
And
I have no
Matt
reason
just
to-
looking over it.
I have no
Thinking.
reason to know if it's actually true, but I do remember hearing that.
Yeah, this is kind of like my playbook. Granted, Solana, you can see here's number 5. I love playing on Solana. I've had a ton of fun on there, just a ton. Look, I've been getting rugged on NFT projects left and right on Solana, but I've made a lot on the shitcoin space. All right, I will
Not
say
for the
that.
faint of heart, guys. If you can't tell, what Will's talking about is not for the faint of heart.
I was Will, yesterday I was trading a ticker Bitcoin derivative on Solana, and it was we'll just call it speculative at best.
At best, yeah.
This right here,
You saw the ticker, right?
Huh?
You saw the ticker we were trading. I had
Oh,
to like
yeah,
make this
yeah.
whole new section for people called like the trenches, just because the places that people are getting themselves into, like the shitcoin burrows, are so speculative now. It's like, it's actually impressive. It's even more speculative than last summer in like May and June. And I'm sure we can all remember just how ridiculous those rotations were getting at a certain point. It feels even more ridiculous now on Sol.
Tommy, did you see the last one I posted in the Discord?
No, let me take a look.
Don't say the name.
I won't say the name.
Don't say the name, but It's super micro. It's
And
still in active positions. I didn't
expect
change it.
I expect these chain games to continue. Maybe not necessarily on Sol, but like regardless of what happens with Bitcoin and majors, I do think that a lot of these layer one charts on a higher time frame look somewhat primed, and make me think that like network growth is probably going to be like those are going to be the type of alts that catch the strongest bids, the ones that benefit from the growth of a lot of these layer ones with still underdeveloped networks. Because you look at like a Sui and a Say, and you know the market capitalizations of those layer ones is quite high, but the ecosystems inside of them are still very underdeveloped. So it's probably just waiting for one of those like AVAX rush moments that we had in Q3 of 2021 to just really ignite a fire in some of these ecosystems.
You have to consider too, like I talked to my brother-in-law. I don't know if I told you guys the story like a couple months ago, and I was like, bro, I was like, buy Sui, and I told him this at like 50 cents. I was like, buy Sui. He's like, bro, he's like, I'm not buying that. I was like, why? He's like, I don't buy Chinese shitcoins. I was like, Sui is not Chinese, bro. I'm like, what are you talking about? And he's like, bro, he's like, the name is Sui. He's like, it's Chinese. I'm like, you know, Sui is Meta, right? Ex Meta devs. That's who made Sui. And he's like, what? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, just because it sounds that way doesn't mean that it's a Chinese coin. I'm like, it's Sui, yes, like chop Sui. I was like, but it's not a Chinese coin. It's not a
It's the
Chinese coin.
Ronaldo coin, man.
Like chop suey, man. Oh my god.
Tucker, what are you looking at in the background, man? I'm seeing something on the chart that's intriguing me. I don't mean to
Are you?
Oh, you're good.
divert here. What do you? Oh, okay. I didn't know. I just saw the bottom left corner, and I was like, that looks vertical.
Had to be done. Who could have foreseen? Yeah, man. I wanted to. What?
So the bears that were shorting the golden zone retraced. Where is their invalidation?
Jack,
There is no invalidation.
Jack, they're called the Golden Pocket Boys.
The
all
Golden Pocket Boys
Just
showed how it is again.
just for context too, before we move into that, my the person I was talking to is Asian, just so people know. Like, yeah. So just them saying that he is Asian. So
Okay. Nice. Well, look. So just to revisit the conversation earlier, I was talking with Sisu in the Discord last night, and basically what would happen, kind of like exactly what you were saying, Will, was if we were to run this back, it would essentially imply like 140 and then something like it was like 30%. It would be like 105.
yeah.
And then it would be about 200 because it basically doubled from 30K to 60, whatever. So that's one path. The timing is hard to figure out, obviously, but I don't think we're gonna know. Like I was looking at previous cycles, right? Like I don't think we're gonna know which of these we're in until we get the first pullback. Because they're all different, right? Like I know, Max, you were speculating about whether we're gonna get the double top that's more like not double top, but whatever, double peak where it's like that rather than the double top, or if we're just gonna parabola. So I don't think we're necessarily gonna know what this is gonna look like until we get the first pullback because obviously Bitcoin was $200 at this point in time, but that was like a 50 something percent pullback.
Mm-hmm.
These were all 30s. We should get 20s from now on, and I would speculate that we're probably going to have more of this kind of a run, like a 2017 kind of a run. But
Tucker, one thing actually, okay, can you zoom out just a little bit and go back to the okay, so the 2012 2013 cycle.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen a lot of people comparing us to that cycle, and from a pacing perspective,
Yeah.
We're kind of blowing 2017 and 2020 out of the water, bro. Like from a how fast we are going parabolic here, man.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if we have a perfect catalyst for something like that, but imagine we get like a true double cycle where we basically just rocket up from here to like July or August, and then we get a major like mini bear market, like a 50% correction or something like that, and then a whole other cycle that takes us to like 400K Bitcoin.
I feel like
I
that
don't
would
know. I mean,
I feel like that would still occur very similar to 2021, where we basically did the double top. If we were going to do that, but we wouldn't double top, we'd just go higher, right?
well, that's what
It
I'm
would be
saying,
this.
right? That's what I'm saying is that we're going up so fast that, and I don't think we'll have a correction like that one, right? Bitcoin was $100. Okay, there's measurably diminished volatility.
That's what I was going to say too. Yeah.
So I don't think it's going to be exactly the same, but I think if we just keep chatting up off of the back of ETF inflows, I think you have to consider a scenario that like we just go absolutely crazy, and then cool off for a few months and then go crazy again until everybody that owns Bitcoin feels as though they have enough exposure to Bitcoin. And that might not line up, that mindset might not line up with historical data, because until now, people haven't had the access or the security or the regulatory clarity to even get into Bitcoin. So I'm actually thinking, just given how we're front running what's going on right now, we might kind of be doing like a 2013 rather than 2017, because we are cooking right now, guys. Cooking.
Yeah, but that still plays in line with the 200K thesis, the 177 that I gave, and
Well,
so
I
on and
think
so
higher
forth.
than that, man. I think if we
But
did a 2013, I think we would go 150, 160, pull back to 95, and then run it to like 400K, bro. You know
Well,
what I
yeah,
mean?
I mean,
what did we extend off of the 618 was what 24x?
But see,
I
I
mean,
think you have
obviously
to
we're not
adjust
going
your
to do
multiples.
that, but yeah, I mean,
yeah, you have to consider too, like Bitcoin at the low was what, 15 something. We'll go with 16K, right? Just to make it easy. You take 32 into 100, that's 3, 6. I mean, you're looking at a 6x to 200K. And I think 6x is plenty fair because I don't think we'll do more than previous cycle. What was the low to high on the previous cycle there, Tucker?
I'm going 618 to high. I'm going
Okay.
618 to high.
How many X's?
23. Was that more? Wait. Oh, that wasn't really the high. We'll take this as the high.
Yeah.
All right, so that's like 100x. 30,
Into what? 34?
30x.
30x, yeah.
6x, 7x.
So like to say we're gonna do like a 40x, I don't know if that's
Nah, you probably get
that's what
like
happened.
you probably from the 618, if that was 7, I mean you probably get like what, 3 or 4. So that would be 4.
Mm-hmm. And that's actually a lower shoot
300% is
than
4x.
what we're
Yeah.
targeting. Yeah.
3 would be 120K.
I think it's very possible to see a 6x though. I think it's very possible. And if you're looking at that, you're heading towards 200K.
Yeah, you could definitely, I mean, I think 200K actually makes a lot of sense too.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going out the fibs. I'm not going to let the fibs play me. I'm not going to get played outside the fibs. Like, I don't care. It could definitely overshoot. It could definitely overshoot. I think the fibs is the best way to play this. And if you're talking mid range, a nice pullback 20-30% and then a breakout, I think it'll look very similar to what you're looking for there, Max. Anyways, back into the 200K range.
75%.
It's just with the asset being that new
200
and at 2012, right? It's very hard to say that we would ever see that type of move again because volatility was absolutely different then. Like the volatility, or at least the market structure as a whole, changed in 2021. It changed once we round topped up there, right? Once we double top, round topped, that showed you like boom and bust cycles are 2017 and prior. There's no longer, in my opinion, especially with institutions stepping in, that you're going to see boom and bust cycles. You're going to see distributive tops and accumulative bottoms, and you'll see there
two big
we sat there
reasons
for
for
those
that.
two things. But go ahead.
Two big reasons for that, man. Like the Bitcoin volatility, historically speaking, has totally died down over the last 2 or 3 years. Will, you're absolutely right. And the two biggest reasons for that are kind of structural shifts that have happened within crypto. The first one is that you don't really see. I've talked about this a lot. Coin margin futures. You just don't see it very often. You can check the futures data on Coinalyze. I've talked a lot about it. We've never returned to anywhere near, to the same degree that 2021 had for coin margin futures open interest. I think we're still like 90% away from the all-time highs, maybe even in coin margin futures. So the big reason that has impacted volatility is because it's like a long your longs type of thing. And the flip side is if you're getting liquidated, it's like twice as much, Bitcoin selling off. So what's essentially happening is you've lowered convexity in the futures market. So these liquidation cascades are no longer like Bitcoin longing Bitcoin. It's Bitcoin being longed by Tether. So it's just kind of like muted for these liquidation cascades in both directions, which in turn, mutes volatility. And then the second thing is also, partially coin margin, but not exactly. We saw a lot from FTX in 2021, how you could just kind of cross margin all of your assets in the same account, if that makes sense. So, when you would have these liquidation cascades, every single asset would be affected because you would have people long Bitcoin with like altcoins as collateral, for example. So you don't really get that cross asset collateralization in the same way that we had in 2021. Those are like the two biggest things, man. Obviously, options play a role too in muting volatility, and the asset maturing plays a big role as well. But I really think the Tether margin futures taking over the market rather than coin margin is probably the biggest thing at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's I think just not enough people consider that Bitcoin as a whole, crypto market as a whole, is slowly but surely starting to mature and is starting to put itself more into a position that it's going to be a more like stock like movement. But these overextensions can still happen, just like the overexpansions, just like the pullbacks can be just as volatile. Like, but that's over a broader time frame. That's your bear bull markets. That's your 4-year cycles. And I think good.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, man, these bankers are degens though, as we're finding out.
Oh, bro, like even people with money, they want to play, right? They have all this money, they want to play. They're like, what's a free market? Where's a place where we could trade 24/7? The stock market is unhindered, so on and so forth. And that's why I came here. I came here because guess what? You can't turn my stocks off when you want to. You can't stop trading when you want to. The market is free in crypto. It does what it wants. It moves how it wants to. Whereas, like, if you're looking at the stock market, they can literally stop trading if you get a mass sell-off. But they don't do that for buys. They don't stop buying if you get a massive buy up. They'll let everybody get trapped, but they can stop trading if there's a cascade of sell-offs. And one other thing too, Goku said that we're gatekeeping coins. I just want to point out, Goku, I was actually directly told not to give out any coins under $100 million by Max. Okay, and the coin that I was talking about is well under $100 million, way under $100 million, and very risky.
Guys, there is one thing I want to discuss regarding the ETFs, and I posted it in the private chat. Maybe some of you guys can pull it out. Maybe Tucker, since you have your chart on. I sent a link in the private chat regarding the ETFs. If you open it up, place it on the screen.
You want me to just
Grayscale's still winning.
Yeah,
Unfortunately.
Grayscale is still winning. All right, one sec.
I think there is lots of good discussion regarding that and your guys' thoughts and possibly the audience's thoughts as well, right? Yeah, the upper, well, first of all, yeah, exactly, the chart itself, right? So we can see that the ETS now hold over 800,000 bitcoins, which is pretty crazy, and they phrased, they basically went plus 200,000 BTC, and that's not mentioning MicroStrategy and many others pretty much. But also, if you scroll up slightly higher, Tucker, we see pretty interesting stuff here. Like, and I want to know your guys' thoughts on this. But for example, I've calculated it, and all the other ETFs now hold more than Grayscale, which wasn't the case at the beginning, obviously. So they have already surpassed Grayscale. Also, there is, probably a certain point where, and by the way, below, those were net inflows, right? Because Grayscale still keeps on selling. The others still keeps on buying, but they keep on buying more than Grayscale is selling. So the 200,000 Bitcoins that the ETS has acquired, that's not inflows. But at some point, I do think that the Grayscale will stop selling, and all we will get is just net inflows on the market. And I'm not sure where that ratio is. Maybe it's like Grayscale at 200,000 Bitcoins. Who knows? Who knows exactly, right? But very interesting. And also what I kind of find interesting is that column, BTC, if you scroll up, BTC per 1K shares, right? What I find interesting is, for example, that BlackRock only holds half a Bitcoin per 100K shares, meaning that they are basically, they are basically making the 21. There is only 21 million Bitcoins, which is true, but they are increasing the supply basically with this one, I believe, because you can now buy more shares than there is an actual Bitcoin, right? Unlike, for example, ARK, which holds 1 BTC per 100K shares. Unless I'm misunderstanding this, but I think that's what's happening, right?
No, that's accurate, and that's just what they do. They fractionalize it. Yeah, that's probably going to continue happening. I mean, that's what they did with gold and silver, right? You can buy a lot more on paper than you can spot. So
exactly.
yeah.
So while they are actually buying spot Bitcoin, they are also with the shares, they are increasing the supply in a way too. Where,
Look at Van X though, man. Look, over one.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. Same with Wisdom Tree.
And it's amazing, but unfortunately, all these ETFs that should be, at the top are at the bottom with very little BTC acquire, and the largest holder is still BlackRock, which has, alongside Bitwise, the worst holdings. Actually, Valkyr font is pretty bad.
0.28, man. That's terrible.
Jesus. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry,
And
guys.
the
I was
fees
busy.
are so high too.
Busy buying some stuff right now because market down.
Is the market down, Will?
All my shit coins are getting obliterated, so I got to add liquidity.
I gotta add liquidity. Jeez.
The Will's Outlook margin call is just adding to adding to the shitters.
Oh man.
Also, BlackRock's ETF will surpass MicroStrategy this week.
Yeah, MicroStrategy's GBTC. Well, oh yeah, no, I saw that's not on here, but yeah, I saw that earlier.
It's the IBIT one, just in front of you. IBIT will surpass MicroStrategy, which is BlackRock.
Yeah, this flipped it. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see.
What does a MicroStrategy stock look like?
Let's see.
Because I
Probably
know it's
insane,
trading
bro.
at like a 2x premium to its Bitcoin holdings right now.
How do you guys feel about probably what we're gonna see is today a red day for a lot of shitcoins and alts, and then tomorrow they're gonna absolutely pump again, and then people are gonna lose their mind because they thought this was the retrace.
Look at MicroStrategy, man. Jeez.
It's up 1000% from the bottom, where Bitcoin is like 350. It's kind of crazy.
Man, Sailor's gonna be the richest man to have ever lived when this is all said and done. It's gonna be crazy.
That's not possible, Max. It's going to be Satoshi. That's the richest man in the world.
Well, that's true. Yeah, that's true. 1 million Bitcoin.
But
Is
that's
that
never.
the top when Satoshi's the richest man in the world? We have no idea who he is.
What if he?
Dead for
What if
sure,
he?
bro.
Those
What if
coins
he's
are
worth
never
like a?
moving.
What if he hits the top of the Forbes list and then just dumps his entire bag, man?
Market dump to zero.
Satoshi dumps to zero, man.
Just to prove a point. Just to flex.
Yeah, right. Just because he can.
Full stack.
He just full stack Jeets, dude.
Dude, he's a pre-sale dumper, man. He got the Bitcoin pre-sale.
Oh,
Not
man.
fair.
Dude, if one single coin in that wallet moved, it would be complete. Everything would go to zero.
It's so much panic,
that.
bro.
Like that.
Hey, what if Satoshi set up that wallet and he's got another wallet that nobody knows
That's-
about that he just
That's
gonna
what I
distribute on
always
people?
thought about, Will. That's what I always thought is probably the case.
I mean, he is that smart. I will say that. If he's that smart, then you have to consider that.
I think that Will's outlook is Satoshi, man. Will you tell me,
Satoshi's
Will?
vision to be aping.
Dumpster diving as Satoshi.
Satoshi is just scoffing at your activity, Will, making a mockery of his creation with your degeneracy.
Guys, what about BSV?
BSV.
Yeah.
You got to pull up the BSV BTC pair, man.
No. Satoshi's vision, Max. Oh, Will, this seems like maybe one of your kind of charts here, brother.
It's too high already.
It's too high. Oh my goodness. How's what are these forks doing, man? I remember $1,500 BCH. I'm old enough.
I'm right
old enough
now
to remember.
doubling down on a shitcoin that I feel like I just got rugged on.
Remember this? It pumped to 300, did nothing for literally 6 months. Did it again.
I mean, if you just pair trade these against Bitcoin, I mean, you'll see that like when there is a time, if you want to go full risk on from a trader's perspective, you can do that. You're going to have to create the pair, I think, man.
How do they not have that pair? That pair should be a thing. Yeah, no, it is a thing. It is a thing. Wow.
I mean, it's terrible, right? Like it's doomed. And I also think that the Bitcoin ETFs here are even more of like a death blow to anybody still remaining hopeful that Bitcoin Cash or
did we put RSI on, Max?
Yeah, I don't. Maybe the 15-minute destroyer, but
Will RSI? Anyone?
Yeah, always.
I mean, it's
RSI.
just
What time we
there's
on?
nothing here from a long-term perspective. Like even if you want to talk fundamentals, right, and you want to try to make the case like Bitcoin Cash is the real Bitcoin, or BSV is the real Bitcoin. The real Bitcoin is the one that the market ends up adopting, and where the concentration of liquidity pours into. So I mean, these forks or whatever, I mean, they're all doomed. The ETFs even just further solidified that. But yeah, I mean, if you want to try to like trade it, and catch like a little manic pump real quick, there's a game to be played for everybody. But I also think it's probably going to be really hard to time because it just bleeds and bleeds and bleeds and bleeds and then pumps quick and then gets sold into immediately,
Oh, here's another good one. ETC ETH.
I just have I have no interest in even like trying to play these. It's just, I mean, maybe ETC, like if you look at the USDT chart, like there is something there, but I don't think it's going to go back above the previous all-time high this time. I kind of think it's going to do what Neo did last cycle, where like it'll go up to their Tucker like 70 or 80. Maybe you could pull up Neo next to it.
This looks not bad, man.
No, it doesn't look bad at all. It's just,
yeah, they'll probably get to like there.
I just don't think it's going to go on to make like a new high, you know, but I think you could catch a nice trade on it.
Once TikTok finds it, they're going to pump the shit out of it. It's like they always pump Ethereum Classic. Makes no sense.
Bro, it's like you guys call me degenerates. Like the people on TikTok, they don't even know what the price of things are that they're buying. They're just like, hey, look, I found this thing. And they just throw it up and everybody just apes.
What did it get to in market cap, man? Is there a market cap chart? Yeah. It got to 21 bill. It's sitting at 5. Higher. Higher.
I don't know, man. I don't, it's not really my thing. I get it, but
we call those
not
cartel
my thing
coins.
either, but
it's a cartel coin.
I'd rather just buy like ERC20 beta, you know, like I'd rather buy ARB or Optimism or Pepe or Boba, you know what I mean? Like we can go degen on chain.
That's the biggest thing for me with ETH right now is like everybody has thoughts about ETH, but if you're trying to long ETH, the very first thing that you're probably buying is not ETH, unless you have just a massive amount of capital. You know, which I think has probably caused the ETH underperformance up to this point. But I mean, look, ETH Bitcoin is sitting at support even despite Bitcoin ETF narratives. So clearly the market still cares about ETH.
I'm Tommying the screen. We're going to talk about this.
I didn't want to FUD ETH too hard for no reason.
I saw you put that in your thing, Max.
I know you got my alerts on.
Of course, I got everyone's alerts on, bro. Come on now.
You got to.
I have alerts on, and I just don't get the notifications for whatever reason, man.
Well, they changed it.
You should know. I told Ed to change it for everyone, so that well, if you want to make sure that you get notifications for all, then right-click the name, and then put it on all messages.
Yeah, just tag everybody. But here's the chart, guys. I just tweeted this out. I was working on this. You know, we've talked about meme coins at length, right? And the important thing is to understand that they do the opposite of a normal pump. All right. So for example, let's take a look here at Bitcoin last cycle. All right. When Bitcoin pumped last cycle and distributed, I want you to take note to this. Okay. Its first pump when it started to go crazy was 138%. Okay. And then the second pump was 100%. All right. And then the third pump was 50%. So you see how it does, it kind of roll. It's like a bouncy ball. It like loses steam the more times it bounces, right? So it's like big, medium, small, wrecked, right? Memes do the opposite, guys. Let's take a look at Doge here. All right. Doge last cycle from leg 1, when it first started to go crazy, went up 475%. Leg 2 went up 1,300%. And leg 3 went up 1,700%. So the higher meme coins go, the more parabolic and exponential the gains and the returns become. It's the exact opposite of what I just showed with Bitcoin. Okay. Understand how crazy things can get. My big question here was, and this is what I was thinking when we were down in here, right? I've been mapping out Pepe for months, waiting for this to happen. When we were down here, I said, okay, I'm expecting us to do what Doge did, move up here under the all-time high, create leg 1, and then we gap up to leg 2 right about here, and then we have, you know, a leg 3 right up in here. Same thing that Doge did. But the difference here is that we're not doing we didn't do a leg 1, guys. Like, we just literally went straight up in a straight line to a new all-time high. So this is what I just posted on Twitter, guys. Like, we are either skipping leg 1, or we're not going to do a leg 3. So we're not going to have 3 legs. We're just going to have 2 legs, which is a possibility. That would imply, we do this, we chop, we range, whatever. We go up again. We probably hit 25 to 40 billion, or, maybe 50 billion, something like that. And that's your top. Okay. Or this was a crazy leg 1, and we are way ahead of Doge, and we still have leg 2 and then ultimately leg 3, which will take us to, 100 billion plus. So these are my 2 scenarios. But all I know is that this was leg 1. We didn't have a normal leg 1 like I had anticipated. Leg 1 was way bigger than I thought. So again, following suit based on the magnitude of these pumps getting bigger and bigger. Here's leg 1 on Doge. Here's leg 2 on Doge. So 468 here. Let me change the font. I think you guys will be able to see it a little bit better. If I make it white.
I mean, Max, how are you calculating the top of leg 1 on Doge? Like one red candle? Like,
so this is the 10-day chart, and this is the 2-day chart. So if we were to zoom in, for example, and look at it, you can see there's a pretty clear pause right here. I just have it on the higher time frame. So that,
all right, well, then you're gonna have to put Pepe on like the 6 hour or something.
Why?
Just proportionate dropping of time frames, right?
Well, no, my whole thesis is that we're doing an expedited version of what Doge did.
Just humor me, Max. Just humor me. Just
do I look
Pepe,
like a guy that wants to humor you, Tucker?
Put Pepe on a lower
do I
time
look
frame.
like a guy that wants to humor you?
Let's see it. Let's see it. Just I see the first leg, Max. I see it in there.
You think this is your first leg?
What are you on? The 12 hour now?
Yeah.
I mean, if it's expedited, it should be visible in lower time frames. Like, that makes sense.
I wouldn't call this being leg 1 here at all. I wouldn't call this a leg. This is part of this move up. There was no break of trend. Not at all. We barely paused here, man. This was like 1 day, less than a day.
I know, but wouldn't you say the same thing about Doge? Like, we barely paused there on a higher time,
Well, let's look at it on the daily time frame. This to me seems a lot more like a first pump is done, reaccumulation before a second leg, than this little move here, which again is on the 6 hour.
Zoom in.
This is part of this leg.
Just tell me it doesn't look a little bit. I'm not crazy here, Max. It looks a little bit similar. It could be.
No, I don't agree.
All right, that's fine.
But
I had to push you a little.
I'm happy to be pushed. But let's get this line back up right here.
Continue the propaganda. I love it.
I will continue the propaganda. So following suit with Doge from a fractal perspective, each pump gets bigger and bigger. So I think that we are either in for just 2 legs total. Let me change this here. So we're either going to be in for 2 legs. Like 1 is done, and then we're going to get 2 and top out at 35, 50 billion. Or we just finished leg 1 and we're going to go a lot higher. And that's going to, of course, be dependent on, how high ETH goes. It's going to be dependent on how high Bitcoin goes. But, in my opinion, we could pull back a little bit from here, right? Like wherever it bottoms out. It could be bottomed already. I don't know. I would expect this second leg to at least be bigger than the first leg, so more than a 10x. But again, if we do end up having a third leg, and this is just like a like literally a freaking super cycle for altcoins, then a lot of these targets go out the window and we just go a lot higher. And it's going to be dependent on like Coinbase listing it, Robinhood in the US listing it, Bitcoin going way higher than anybody expects, ETH going to, 25K, like, Jackass's ETH, NVIDIA chart starts to play out. Like the stars do have to align for a leg 3 to happen. But I do think that we have a lot higher to go, over the next 3, 4, 5 months for sure. But, again, just wanted to share this here.
Yeah. Imagine a true leg 3.
Yeah, and
Have
I think
you,
that's why you
prospected
have to
that?
keep some exposure. Like even if you take some profit, at some of these higher levels, like once you get into the 10, 20, 30, 50 billion region, I think it's fine to start shaving a little bit, right? But I think for the purposes of not coping and, regretting everything that you do moving forward, I think if there's any lesson that we've learned here, it's that sometimes you feel like you're late and you're not. Tommy is a perfect case study for that.
Oh,
Where no, I'm not trying to pick on you, Tommy, but you're
you talking about his Mog buys?
I'm talking
No.
about Tommy buying Pepe at 200K market cap, thinking he was late, and he got back in, right? But it's like you gotta let the trade play out. You gotta shave, and then you gotta keep a moon bag. You know what I mean? You have to, just in case, because you never know. No one knows for sure where a top is going to be.
He did that too with Mog. He sold just before the pump.
Dude, we're not going to talk about my experiences with ERCs over the last year or so, but you have to remember, like, when I bought Pepe and ticker Bitcoin as low as I did,
oh, ticker Bitcoin too.
the atmosphere in ETH shitcoins was what you are seeing in Solana right now. So you're buying these shitcoins for a flip, not because you think they're going to go to like $1 billion, and then they did. Sometimes that's just how the cookie crumbles. Mog was different. Mog I should have held because I had the same thesis as Dr. Outlook, but I just didn't have the patience for that one.
Bro, like the moves you've missed out on, Tommy, because like either you sold too early or you thought you were late, right? And you're like, man, this thing ain't gonna do nothing. It's been a whole 3 decades, aka 3 hours I've been holding this. And I need to look for something else because this thing's not moving.
It's like you said, Will, shitcoin time just operates. It's a totally different time frame than what you have to have as an investor, right? And it's difficult to be able to blend the two together because we are used to seeing these shitcoins just pump so rapidly and then die just as rapidly, and the market cycles occur within, like I said, you can have multiple market cycles within a day on some of these Solana shitcoins and the ERC tokens last year. Whereas every other crypto asset obviously has more traditionally functioned in a 4-year cycle. So, it is what it is at the end of the day.
That honestly, that's like the reason I've performed so well is because I don't sell my bags at a loss. It's hero or zero, not the other way around. Okay. Either we're doing exponentials in numbers or I'm losing all my money I invested. Other people, they don't have that mindset when they invest. They're like, oh, I'm throwing my whole $1,000 in that I got. And it went down to 800. All right, I'm selling and buying something else that's pumping. And that's why those people are losing a lot of the time. Look, I'll ride this thing down to 0 and double down on the way down to 0 on top of it.
What's that Alex Wise quote? It was like, you take profits at a 2x. I double down at a 2x. We're not the same.
We're not
That's
the same.
ripping off a Suzu quote, man.
Yeah.
If you are taking profits on a double instead of adding, you need to be asking yourself why that is, or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta try to be smart. You gotta try to be somewhat careful, but it's hilarious, man. It's hilarious. We're gonna start seeing a lot of that.
It's still we're past all time high, and people still have this mindset. it just blows my mind. I'm like, dude, these shit coins are gonna be worth more than Ford. They're gonna be worth more than Chevy as an entire corporation. Like people are not getting it, right? You've already got shit coins that have surpassed airlines. Like just put that in your head. Put that in your head just a little bit, right? Shit coins that are valued at higher than your current airline that you're paying thousands of dollars for first class on.
The dog with a hat went to 2 billion just 2 weeks ago.
Bro, like if you think these things aren't gonna go higher, like I can't help you. Why are you here? Why are you here?
I mean, just like, what are you expecting? Like, are you expecting like a triple top here on Bitcoin? Like what at this point, like what is like the real, like what is the bear case right here? Like help me out here, because double top was historic, right? Like double top was crazy. Got a lot of people. I got bullish damn near that top too. I didn't think we were going to double top right away. Once we kind of G'd it, I was like, oh boy. But I mean, are you really expecting that we went through 2 years of reaccumulation and drawdown just to get back up and then like immediately nuke? I mean, what is the plan up here for bears, with Bitcoin in price discovery right now? What is that plan?
Well, I don't think they've had a plan.
Yeah, I don't think there is a plan.
I don't speak Baronese, so in that scenario, I can't help you. All right, I just can't help you.
But what is it like? Is it just, oh well, I'm not in, so I'm just gonna FUD their bags? Is it just like,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm seriously asking. Like, I'm not even trying to be a jerk. Like, I want to know, what about Bitcoin doing this whole recovery for 2 years, getting back above an all-time high with record demand because of spot ETFs, makes you feel bearish on the asset?
It's bearish people wanting more people in their court, right? It's sideline people thinking that if they keep screaming at the wind, that everybody will follow them into selling off the market so they can get an entry.
I think
that's what it is.
I think it's people that just are just trying to make too much sense of the market when the market's clearly not. And we've talked about this before, like it's a feature, not a bug, for the market to be trading irrationally. And people keep trying to approach the market from a purely rational standpoint. And we've had all this variance this year because of irrational, quote unquote, irrational speculation, right? So, I mean, it's just like people, I think, have just boxed themselves into a corner as far as like where we're at in the and you see so many people asking this question all the time, like, where are we at in the cycle? Where are we at in the cycle? Where are we at in the cycle? I don't think anybody has any clue, man. That's kind of the point. Like you keep trying to call tops and bottoms because you're looking for some rational inflection point, and the market's just kind of doing its thing. It's just bidding because it doesn't know when the tops or bottoms are going to be.
And that's the thing too. Like, I mean, a prime example of that this year is Nvidia, right? Like, prime example. And we can look at the Nvidia chart, man. I feel like we should do this. I was looking at the VIX because of what you said this morning, Tommy. Literally just nuke it, man. Forget it. Just send it to 0. But let's look at Nvidia, right? So, I mean, for one, this is insane, right? Like it's epic insane, right? But I mean, I even remember, guys, when we gapped up right here, I remember prospecting like, oh man, this gap is going to fill. Like, kind of looking, we were comparing here this top, thinking this looked like the 64K top on Bitcoin. None of us played Nvidia, I don't think, at least until later. I know Tommy started longing it up here, but we were all watching it, right? Maybe Will played it, I can't remember, but either way, we weren't like actually playing it, but we were looking for this gap to fill, maybe, and like at least come down and like, fill it, and then we could talk about, going up from there, and this is like a deviation, but it just never happened, right? And then look at where we're at now. It just goes and goes and goes and goes.
Just for context, to add to your conversation, you did have the lower failed shoulder, right? And then right after that failed shoulder, you got the swing high, and nobody wanted to acknowledge that. And that was your green light that this thing was going to continue up, based off of that alone. And then in addition to that, from that whole scenario there, a lot of people were not anticipating $900,000 NVIDIA. I wasn't. I was, look, at 500, I was like, this thing's going to 800. People are like, you're high. I'm like, watch. And it went to 800, and then it went beyond 800. Now I'm just sitting here like, holy crap, this is going a lot higher than I thought it was going to go.
Yeah, and it's just, I mean, things can just, they can just get a lot crazier than you think. Mainly because like the meat of expansion happens when we're in like way overbought territory already, and that's what I keep trying to point out to people that are a little bit eager to call like meme coin tops and stuff. And I'm like, we're just entering where the meat of the gains actually happens. Let's do a little study here. All right, let's do a little study here. We're gonna save this. Fine.
That's what I figured.
What was that?
What?
That was.
That's what I figured. What is that?
I don't know. I feel like some people in the comments though, Max, like I'm not attacking our audience. Just so
Yes,
know.
you are.
Yes,
But
for sure.
You love to poke fun at the audience, Will.
The audience.
they have no
that's
clue.
not
They're
cool.
clueless. But I'm not trying to insult. Like I always feel like we get new people in here who like, I'm going to give my opinion, and it's like your opinion doesn't mean anything to the market. But I can tell you, like,
Well, couldn't
Drake
the same be
posted
said
a
about us,
video.
Will?
Yeah, it doesn't. But Drake posted a video of Sailor that is extremely bearish. Okay, that's an opinion. You can only say, I know a bear keeps thinking stocks will dump due to some macro event. Again, some macro event is a black swan. Nobody can predict a black swan. So if you're trying to predict one, your IQ probably isn't above a fifth grader's. Pretty much. That's all I can really give you for
There's some
advice
smart
there.
fifth graders out there, Will,
But-
man. I know some sharp cats.
Did you guys ever watch that show as a kid?
I
Are You
have,
Smarter Than
bro.
a Fifth
Yeah, but
Grader?
the kids are like
course,
smarter
bro,
than the
of
adults.
course.
Oh man.
So let me touch on this, guys. Let me touch on this. This is I just really want to hammer this point home, okay? I'm not making any guarantees. I'm just showing you how to interpret the data. All right. And of course, it's not as linear as this, right? Like context is key, but with something, confluent to mega cap tech trading like a Solana shitcoin. I mean, this is a multi-trillion-dollar company. This is over a $2 trillion company doing this, right? Let's look at Doge. This is what I'm talking about. This is the 2-week chart, okay? The gray zone is when RSI is basically everything under 76. Okay, let's just say here I've got here I'll mark it out like this. Hang on. Roughly that level. All right, this is Doge. And by the way, guys, start studying Doge. Okay, Doge has been around longer than ETH. It's older than Total 2 and Total 3. Like Doge is your risk barometer, okay? Look at what happens when Doge 2-week RSI is under 76 or 77. It's marked by blue dots. Nothing really happens. It goes up like 2x. Look at what happens as soon as it gets into like way overbought. That's when a majority of the move happens. That's when Doge goes from going up 2x, 3x to 10x. Okay. Same thing here in the previous cycle. Not really much happened, bouncing around, 50x, 100x, 200x. Okay. All when 2-week RSI gets above the 77 level, guys. Okay. So again, what are we doing right now? Everybody thinks that they're late to the move, but guess what, guys? We're still like just about to leave our gray zone. We haven't even entered the mania phase yet, guys. We haven't. And look at Bitcoin dominance, guys. Additional confluence. We haven't even put in a multi-month drawdown in Bitcoin dominance yet. It's just, I think we're just still early, and it doesn't feel like it, but I think that we are.
Look, if I agree, Robert. If Taylor Swift starts doing TA videos, I'll be concerned. But the biggest point here is, all right, is that your local Spirit Airlines, all right, your local Spirit Airlines is literally sitting at 4x below the valuation of Pepe. Okay, we are going so much higher than what people are anticipating. Pepe will dwarf Spirit Airlines. They're gonna be like, what does Spirit Airlines do? It doesn't matter because we don't do anything and we're 4 times the valuation.
What do we do? Doesn't
The
matter.
market is rugging. Pull on the auger.
Yes, look at the market rugging, Jackus. Look at this. Oh my gosh.
Yes. It's ogre.
Look at it, Jackus. The market's rugging. Look at this chart. Oh my gosh.
Oh, Max, it's over.
Bro, the monthly was the
get-
most disgusting thing you ever saw. Like that monthly close should tell you everything.
Gotta put on the alpha time frame of 35 seconds.
Oh, that's actually a good idea. So average dad, Max, wants you to chart the Spirit Airline Pepe chart. Let's go and let's put that valuation
Here's
up there.
Bitcoin on the 30-second chart, guys. It's over.
We need Spirit Airline Pepe chart, Max.
Fine, I'll do it. I'll happily
Do
do
it.
it. After I draw this trend line, I will do it. There you go. Bang.
Sold BTC green. Probably nothing.
All right, so we want to do, what is the Spirit Airline ticker? I don't even know what it is. Save? Oh man. All right. Pepe USD divided by save.
Oh, this is gonna look really weird because it had that one day where it like went down 60 or 70%, right?
Show me the utility here. Show me the utility.
I mean, let's clean it up a little bit, right? We'll put the line chart on.
Here at Because Bitcoin, you get the best synthetic pairs known to the market.
Look at this trend line retest. What? Why does it work? Look at this.
That's gonna be your new tweets on Twitter.
What is this?
Versus
That hike in a she, Max?
Hike and poopy.
Yeah.
The fuck is safe.
Huh?
Wow.
The fuck is safe.
It's an airline in the US.
It's a budget
Spirit.
airline in the US.
What?
It's terrible, bro. Don't
ever fly, Jackus. Yeah.
Yeah, don't fly Spirit. I flew Spirit to and from Bitcoin Miami. I will never fly Spirit again.
Why, Tommy? Why?
Because the timing of the flight. And you know how bad I am about booking flights late, Tucker.
You are a poor planner when it comes to traveling.
That's why I have my fiance, man.
Yeah.
Someone explain to me why this even works, right? Why? Rejection at the previous all-time high. Why does this work?
Somebody's trading it, Max. Somebody.
It's so funny.
Millionaires don't trade Pepe save, but billionaires do.
Yeah.
Crazy, man. Crazy. All right, guys, we've been going for an hour and a half. This is what we're going to call it. Guys, thanks so much for being here. Greatly appreciate it. Before you guys go, please consider liking and also subscribing. Furthermore, check out the first link in the description below. It will take you to our website where you can browse our premium offerings and sign up for our Discord. I just had a conversation with the dev guys. Prices are going up on Friday. It will be your last week to sign up before there is a 3x surge in the cost. And again, if you sign up now, you'll be grandfathered in for life as long as you don't cancel, and you will get early access to the Because Bitcoin terminal, which is dropping right around the Bitcoin halving. So again, guys, this is your last chance. We'll tweet about it. We'll constantly remind you. But yeah, you're going to want to sign up. We share active positions. We share premium analysis and TA that we don't talk about here on X or on YouTube. Yeah, guys, it's a great experience. We do 2 hours a day of private live voice calls. If you enjoy Market Check here, brought to you by Because Bitcoin, you will absolutely love and appreciate the Discord, guys. It's everything you love about our public content, but even better. Without further ado, without wasting any more time, let's kick it over to our man Snorlax to say a final farewell.
No, thanks, guys. Echoing everything Max said, make sure to check out that Discord. I know we talked about it a little bit this week already, but you know, it's invaluable to be able to have not just people participating and you know, analysts to give market guidance, but also, you know, people in the community to be able to bounce your own ideas off of and grow with, you know, as well. I just think about when I was first getting started in markets, how valuable a community like that would have been to me. And yeah, I definitely cannot recommend it enough. But real quickly, guys, before we wrap up, it was another great show. And of course, I have to slip in a reminder that there is no second best daily YouTube live stream to talk about these markets. And that is in large part because of you guys, the audience, tuning in. But as far as our programming goes, you guys know Market Check will be back tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. Eastern time. We are live every single weekday, Monday through Friday. We talk charts, trading, technicals. We have a lot of fun on this show, and we all like to cook. So if you like food, you have a big appetite, definitely tune in. Of course, as well, we also have our flagship show, Market Talk, which is a Twitter space hosted by King Wabi. It's a fantastic show, guys. They talk everything involving markets, crypto, equities, have some amazing guests on every single day. So absolutely cannot recommend that show enough, especially if you're enjoying Market Check. It's a little bit of a different feel to Market Talk, but just as entertaining nonetheless. But yeah, guys, that's it from us. Like I said, we'll be back tomorrow for another episode of Market Check. Giga Chads will catch you for the afternoon call later today. And y'all have a great rest of your day. Thanks again.
The shitcoin shakeout is over.